Needs to be done. So roll call, then Commissioner Peak,
Present here.
Commissioner Sovereign,
Here.
Commissioner Witowski. You're here.
Here. Oh, yeah,
Thank
I'm
you.
sorry.
And Commissioner O'Neill.
Here.
And Commissioner Evans is absent.
Already.
How
And
about Costello?
if you guys
And-
want to say something, wave or interject or whatever.
Thank you,
I'm
Commissioner
here. I'm here.
and Commissioner Thomas.
Here.
Thank you.
Alrighty. So our
How about me?
consent
How about me?
is our minutes. We go to the minutes of last month. Does anybody have any changes or corrections? I had one, the very last sentence. I can't recall us having a closed session, Francesca.
That is actually fixed. So the online packet, it does not have that on it.
Also,
So the
Wow.
print packets were printed and then the online
Okay.
packet was changed.
so
You
we'll
can
do-
ignore that.
would you say adjourn the meeting at 5:14 PM?
Yes.
Any other comments or corrections? I hear a motion to approve the minutes.
I so move. We approve. the
John
minutes.
O'Neill, a second, please.
Second.
Kimber, second. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? No. So the activity report, it's up to you, Inga. All right, for the minutes, we can go.
Filling in since January 16th when we lost Tyler Markley. Who was the full-time position. Oh, Inga, excuse me. You need to- Or did you turn it on? The green.
Oh, there we go.
And Francesca, would you mind closing the door? I can still
Oh, yeah.
hear Hans talking.
So I was mentioning that one of the highlights in our activity report is that because Tyler Markley left in January
Thank
as
you.
a museum attendant, so Jordan has been filling in. But the good news is that we've been recruiting for museum attendants. We have one that started and she's going to be working this month. So that frees Jordan up. And then we hope to bring on two more so that we might be able to begin being open Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, starting May 1st. That's the goal,
That's great.
because we ramp up for the summer months. And that's all I wanted to share. Jordan, did you have anything you wanted to?
Well, I will add that the one museum attendant that we did hire, you probably know, is Susan Klusmeyer.
Oh,
Oh, good.
And so not only will she be great at Colton Hall, but we can ask her questions. If we,
Yeah.
excuse me, Gordon, does that mean she's not working down at?
Yeah, she and the other lady were, she and the other woman were terminated some time ago.
Oh,
I
I mean,
believe,
let go, I think this.
I believe they stepped down because
Oh.
during COVID, it got to a point where they were in lockdown where they were just doing trainings
Yeah.
and not actually doing anything because the building was closed. So I know Susan stepped down. Meg probably stepped down as well.
but don't they expect to go back?
No, they are done. There is a person working there right now at the Cooper Malera Adobe. I believe it's Diana. And I think she's just there Thursday through Sunday.
Any other comments, Inga or Jordan?
I mean, there's a lot written in the report. I will say museum attendance for March were up over the previous months. So it's been a steady incline. So that's been nice. And we've been getting more school tours at both the lab and at Colton Hall. And so that's it's great to have the kids coming back, and so it's been fun. Otherwise, I mean, it's just nothing really major happened this last month, so that was nice. I did note this month they did repair the fire at the Presidio, or not the Presidio, I'm sorry, the Pacific Biological Labs. So they did repair that, so that is taken care of. The only other thing is we are currently trying to find a foundry to repair the Kalisa Moore statue.
We found one. Now we just need to reach
Oh,
out to them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because the local one that we used to use is no longer here. They're in Burbank, California now. So we would have to take the whole bust all the way down to Burbank.
But we found one in Berkeley that's highly recommended. So hopefully they'll be able to make
Yeah.
the repairs to the Kalisa statue.
Which shouldn't be very invasive.
So along with Inga, I also was interviewed by the Monterey Museum of Art. It's kind of funny, you know, a year ago, they kind of decided to give up Pacific Street, concentrate on La Mirada. They even went out and bought that nursery as a parking lot for their patrons, okay? Actually, it was sort of fortuitous because they bought it when prices were a lot lower. But their patrons said, geez, we want to go through the El Estero car wash or buy the car wash to get to our parking lot to go to our beautiful museum, which was an interesting comment. You think they would have mentioned that before they bought it, but and now they've decided they're seriously thinking of keeping the Museum of Art here. So they're interviewing and they're proposing, it's a city-owned building. It used to be an old courthouse. They're proposing to demolish it and build a new structure there that meets all the museum requirements. The biggest problem here was that major exhibits were not allowed to be there because of heating and air conditioning and a variety of other museum constraints. So Inga's gone. I'll try to keep you posted on that, but they're doing this long study. They're evaluating both museums now. They do have that piece of land there, which I think would, you know, they could always sell it to the city for affordable housing. I don't know how much water was the old nursery had, but it's a nice little site for an apartment complex. But anyway, I'll keep you posted on that.
I have a question, though. This is a city-owned building
Uh,
that they want to
I
change,
believe so. They want to demolish it.
and it's historic.
I'm not sure if it's historic. They've made a lot of, that's a good point,
Yeah.
John, but that will go through the analysis. I don't, Inga can double check with Kim Cole. I don't think it's been designated as historic.
Yeah, I don't think it has been designated as historic. And according to the person who's their consultant, they said they'd spoken with the city manager and he was supportive of it. But that doesn't mean that it's gone through all the
Yeah.
various commissions.
I'm
and
sure he
so
would have
forth.
checked with Kim, but if you wouldn't mind just double checking with Kim and maybe just sending out a short email. to us.
Sure.
And to add to that, I know before the pandemic, when they were talking about closing the museum there, they were talking about putting city offices back in there. And talking with Dennis Copeland, we were hoping that they would move like the planning division and everything back into that building. And then we could have the downstairs of Colton Hall back and have offices. And then the left bottom side, we were turned into the school museum to have it set up how it would have looked like as a school. So
Thanks, Jordan. Always trying to get rid of the planners. Any other comments on the activity report?
Well, I'll mention that now that we have more people out of lockdown, we've had more requests to book the Pacific Biological Lab and more requests for events at the Lower Presidio Historic Park. And so Francesca's been busy working on all of those permit requests, and we appreciate that.
What kind of permits are people requesting at the Lower Presidio? I mean,
It's quite an involved process because
I
we,
mean, what type are they? Not the process.
oh, okay, the sorts of events. Well, why doesn't Francesca chime in with their runs and things like that?
There is a current, in the process, it's Wear Blue Run to Remember, the Circle of Remembrance on Memorial Day, so on Monday, where they gather and will speak the names of those who have fallen, and there's an optional 5K walk or run afterwards. There's also currently an inquiry about having a sunrise Easter service that is still in the permit process. Library and museums is having a volunteer appreciation picnic, but that's for the lower Presidio. So there was an inquiry about a wedding, however, they haven't yet returned. So I think that they found a different location.
And I noticed that Jordan is diligently working on a new Buffalo Soldier exhibit. Maybe at an upcoming meeting, Jordan, you could either graphically or just orally tell us what that exhibit will look like and where it's going to go and things of that type.
Sure.
Flesh that out. Any other comments? How about the public? Would they like to comment on the activity report?
We want to open this both to just general public comments that aren't on the agenda, and then also this one right now.
Sure, that would be nice. Good
Okay.
thinking.
Okay, so there are 2 ways to virtually participate. You can join this meeting on Zoom or call in by telephone if you're not here in the council chambers with us. Dial toll-free 833-568-8864, enter meeting ID 161-622-2299, followed by the pound sign. To make a public comment, please raise your Zoom hand or dial *9. And there are no public comments at this time, Chair Witowski.
Thank you, Francesca. So, no, this does not require any motion. We just received the report. The next item is the letter that Inga has worked on very diligently. She's bounced it off Bob and me, and we gave our comments. And so if you, I know, John, you had a couple of comments, and if any commissioners have comments on it, this is the time to speak up. John O'Neill, you go first.
Thank you. In the second paragraph, that first line, it says a full-time museum staff will allow. I wonder if it might be better to say Monterey than to say us, because it's the city we're talking about here. I want to make sure that that gets across to the city council.
Sure.
Can I interject, because it's the same sentence? I would omit the 2 words "to begin" and just say, because that sounds like we're not sure that it's going to fly. And I'd say allow us to do the following. Where possible.
John, you had another one?
Yes, we list the number in the third paragraph, we list the number of ethnicities. Is the Japanese experience supposed to be under either Asian American or Pacific Islanders? Would we consider that?
Inga?
So the Japanese are Asian Americans. And just to clarify about this letter, so this letter is a letter that the commission wanted to write to the council. So it's not really my letter because I've already put in a request through the department head process for requesting staff be added back. So this is really the commission's letter, and then what the commission wants the council to know about what your role is and what you're not able to do because of the staffing situation.
John, any more?
Bottom 2 lines of that same page, as you know, we're discussing the head of department head who oversees the museums, Inga. You say assures us. Would it be better or not to say informs us?
Sure.
I like informs.
Informs fine.
Thank you. Those are my comments. Thank you very
Okay.
much.
Michael? Oh, I'm sorry, Kimber.
Unless you have, No.
No.
the last page, I would just recommend striking her and putting Inga's. Because when I read through it, it takes you a minute to process that it's Inga
Oh,
we're
yeah.
talking about and not the
No,
administrative.
good point.
assistant.
Yeah, with Inga's retirement.
And then the only other recommendation is a different font. I like the font with the serifs, but I think they're easier to read.
Already. John or Tim, do you have any additional comments to those already made?
I do not.
I do. Third paragraph, third line, last word, super. I think that's kind of slang. I'd say an outstanding or some other adjective. And then the last page, the second page, have the same concern about the second line where get lost. Again, lost is kind of slangy. I would say be overlooked or something like that. And then finally, very gratefully, is that a little too subservient? I would say respectfully submitted or whatever.
Sure. Respectfully, the salutation.
On the
Francesca?
I missed the one that John said, the third paragraph, last line.
the third paragraph, third line,
Third line, thank you.
last word, super. Super's kind of slang, I think. Anyway, it doesn't sound good. I would say an outstanding or extremely competent or some other descriptor.
So that's
want
if
to be
you don't
efficient.
count the bulleted list as being a paragraph.
Oh, yeah, it's not. I didn't count it as a paragraph. So I'm talking about that would make it the fourth paragraph, third line, last word, super. Just personal preference. I don't like that use.
All right.
So I know that some of the early ones, I will need to return to the recording. If you want to all read through them right now, then I will need, I have the changes assures to informs us. The change super to outstanding, the strike her and note Inga, library and museums director.
And then the second line on the second page.
On the very
Inga.
last.
Oh, wait a
page.
second. Go ahead.
Inga? Okay,
Yeah, I think you guys.
okay.
Go ahead, John. I'm sorry.
Okay, second page, second line says get lost. How about be overlooked? Again, lost. I'm not sure whether they lost paperwork or, it's vague. And then I already mentioned instead of gratefully, I'd say respectfully.
And then since we're kind of summarizing all of the changes in general, there was a change in the second paragraph, if you consider the one that has the letter from us to Monterey in that first line, and then change the font to a serif font.
Oh, yeah, well,
Did John also ask about shortening that first sentence as well? Not just, I know Commissioner O'Neill asked. Had every person-
just to prove that nothing escapes my examination. In the paragraph with things being listed, you've got a capital A. Oh, I see. That's just okay, that should be indented then to separate it from the line of letters. But anyway, if
Great.
somebody can change the font, I can do a carriage indentation.
And then there was the suggestion to strike the words to begin.
Yeah,
Yes.
that was also mine. That sounds tentative to me.
We'll trust Inga and Francesca to make all those changes. Any other comments by any of the commissioners? Then we should open this up to the public for their input, especially on the type of font.
One other comment I would say is, since this is from the commission, do you all want to sign it, or do you want to have it just
I
have
think that
Phil's signature.
Is there a precedent for administration in the city?
I think generally the chair signs it, and as long as the letter's been reviewed by the entire commission, and the commission gets a final copy of it.
Okay.
So public comments.
Yes, to make a public comment, please raise your Zoom hand or dial *9. Charlotte, there are no public comments.
Thank you. So do we have a motion to approve the letter with the various changes?
So move.
Michael moved. The second,
I second.
Tim. So Mike made the motion. Tim, any further questions? Want to do roll call?
Okay, Castagna,
Yes.
O'Neill,
Yes.
Peak,
Yes.
Sovereign,
Yes.
Thomas,
Yes.
Lepowski.
Yes.
Thank you.
Wow, so we're all done. This is the type of meeting that, we didn't have the letter, I would have just canceled the meeting, but since we had the letter and it's see everybody in person anyway. So
You're
we,
just going for the record for the shortest meeting, I think.
or do you have any?
No comments.
Mike, do you have any?
I've given a couple of talks lately, one at the Civic Club and one at the downtown, Old Town Neighborhood Association. And I have some copies of some of that, if anybody
love to
wants
see 'em.
them as a non-business item,
Very nice.
non-official.
And
It's
I
kind
know you did one on the mural at the conference
Yeah.
center. and
Yes.
Was that, both of the talks were on that?
Not quite, but
Oh.
one was at the mural, one was at the Civic Club.
Okay.
So
John, do you have any comments?
Yes, I'd like to just repeat that we have no visitor center in the city of Monterey still. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Which I find to be just outrageous, given that this is the most historic city in the state and the entire economy on the coast is based on visitors, that the city ought to consider a visitor center.
we pay a lot of money to the Visitor Bureau.
The Chamber and Convention Bureau.
Yes.
Yes, and they do, even though their sign does not say that, I've talked to her several times, they do have they have a lot of the brochures left over from the visitor center. And visitors come there because they see Chamber of Commerce. And when they come in, they give them the information. But John is correct, they relocated it to their offices on the corner of Abergo and I forget the cross street and Webster, and there's no sign or anything else there. So our de facto visitor center is really the chamber at the lake. But it doesn't say that, it just says Chamber of Commerce. They do give out information. My wife's garden group just put out a nice little brochure on all the historic gardens. And I took a stack of them down there and they said they would be glad to distribute them. So, but I think we've gone over that, right? But it bears for the city to consider they just noticed that big drop off because of the internet. It'll be interesting, and that's not for you to pursue. I'll be glad to talk to them. It'll be interesting how the Pacific Grove Visitor Center is doing. Much poorer location. I mean, it's within the
Yeah.
city versus our great location down there. And I'll ask them how they're doing. And I think another big issue was they had to have paid staff and Pacific Grove has volunteers. So, but let me follow up with them. They'll see their annual report on how well Pacific Grove is doing.
Thank
John Castagna, any comments?
No question. Any update on the search for a new library director?
As a matter of fact, I can make an announcement, which is the city has hired a firm called CPS HR, which is one of the top recruiting firms for executives. And they recently completed a successful recruitment for the library director for the city of Berkeley, which also has an administrative board, and also completed a recruitment for the library director for Sonoma County. And they have a subject expert on their team that's working with us, and her name is Susan Hildreth. And people will know her name because she was the head of the government organization in DC that's in charge of museums and libraries and gives out all the grants. And I always forget the acronym of their name. So anyway, so she's very familiar with museums and libraries working together, but she's a professional librarian. And she's been our state librarian for the state of California. She's been the head of the library school at the University of Washington and San Francisco Public Library, Sacramento Public Library. She has visited our library many times. And so it's really great to have somebody like her on our staff. And we had our kickoff meeting today and shared a list of folks that we want the recruiters to speak with, stakeholders. And the commission was on that list. So they definitely want to get input from commissioners about what commissioners see as needed in a new library director. So
And Ingrid,
they,
you're with us, whether it's hot weather or rain, you're with us till the middle of July, right?
that's correct. And so they'll be reaching out to you and I'll keep you posted on the process. It looks like the interviews will probably take place in June, just because it looks like it's going to take a little while to get the brochure together that's going to describe what it is that the city is looking for. And then probably people will be applying in May, and then interviews will be in June with an appointment probably to start sometime in August, if it all goes according to plan. One thing they did warn us about is there are lots and lots of library director recruitments going on. And in fact, it's kind of just a phenomenon amongst cities and counties that a lot of department heads are retiring. And so it's sort of people will get to have their choice of what kinds of positions they want. But of course, with beautiful Monterey and California's first public library and Colton Hall, I imagine that we'll get some really good candidates.
Thank you for that update.
Can I ask a follow-up there? A friend watches the city openings and it reports to me anyway that the library director position is not yet listed on the city opening.
Right. It's not yet listed because the contract was just signed today. And so the first step is putting together the recruitment brochure and description. And that's going to take about a month. And so it'll open probably May 2nd or so is the anticipated date.
And of course, I'm sure the headhunter will send it to all the other libraries in the immediate area and possibly.
Yes, and I'm putting together a list of professionals that I'm aware of that might want to move to Monterey or that are in sort of mid-management positions in other libraries that might want to step up to being a director. So if any of you, of course, you'll also be asked by the consultant possibly, but anyway, if any of you have anybody in mind that you would like me to put forward their name, I'd be happy to do so.
Thank you. Tim, do you have any comments for the good of the order?
I don't right now.
Okay, neither do I.
Can I share one more announcement?
Sure.
Okay, which is there is a student history slam on April 30th. And we did a student history slam last year. So this is our second annual history slam. It's going to be Saturday, April 30th from 1 to 3:30. And I think we have about 17 contestants and they're going to have 5 to 8 minutes to do their history talk. And we're including coastal cities all the way up to where the Western Flyer is currently located, because we're partnering with Western Flyer, and Western Flyer, the boat is going to be coming down to Monterey in September. So we're kind of helping to encourage excitement about coastal things and the Western Flyer.
And that's open to the public?
Yes, and it's going to be on Zoom. And so I'll make sure that you all get the flyer about that so that you can watch it and cheer people on. I think it's always really exciting to see middle schoolers and high schoolers who are passionate about history give history talks. And then we have the adult history slam, and that is in May. So we'll keep you posted about that one too.
Mike, you should participate.
My son did last year, but
Oh.
I don't know if I will be able to talk him into this year.
Okay, any other comments?
He, by the way, has a website for the Monterey mural now.
Oh.
It's cited at the top of this page.
No further comments?
I do have one thing I should point out to you, besides the History Slam, the Monterey JECL is long in production documentary film Enduring Democracy. The Monterey Petition made its world premiere at the famed CineQuest Film Festival last week. And you can go on the CineQuest website and actually stream it right now until the 17th of April. But we are going to be showing it here at the JECL Hall on Saturday in a partnership with the Monterey Library. It is almost full, but we're going to have a panel discussion after the showing of the film with myself, Sandy Lyden, Jeffrey Dunn, and David Yamada. So it should be a really good event.
Great.
And we are recording it, so it'll be available to watch the panel discussion afterwards on the library's website.
Alrighty, any other comments? Jordan? No? All right, we're adjourned at